Well, good morning. You are joining me on something I almost didn't even know would ever happen. After, let's call it 17 years, I am in Whistler, about to go mountain biking. The 17-year-old me wouldn't believe it for a second that I'd be here. Growing up watching Drop-In Season 1 on my lunch break or after school. This is in many ways a dream come true. So I'd like to thank you for joining me here on episode 4 of the rental bike series. Got some demos down there, YT, Rocky Mountain. Might try to hit up those later, but Canyon, Fox suspension, Norco, SR Sun Tour. Satellite dish?
No.
It's news it? Yeah.
Someone had it in one of their videos.
Oh, okay.
His edits and he said.
All right, first run, dropping into Blue Velvet. Got to figure out what the quality of these trails are. Oh, lots of braking bumps. Thank you. Yeah, buddy. Oh, braking bumps. Out of these holes. Oh, jumps are really nice. Just sort of have to trust the trail builder, I think. I don't know if I'm supposed to go this way or that way. There's a junction, no signage. So maybe I'm still on Blue Velvet, maybe I'm not. Yep. Oh, big holes. Oh, yeah. That is not where I want to go. I need to do some jumps. Oh, that was a big hole. I could tell you're just like, no, I've had enough.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. You guys keep chatting.
All right, have a good day. Well, here we are, back at Coastal Culture, about to return this Santa Cruz Nomad. And maybe I didn't do a good enough job of explaining or introducing it at the beginning of the video. So, this bike is actually 2 seasons old. In speaking with the staff here, she was saying that in lieu of supply chain constraints and supply shortages, they were not able to replace their fleet this year as they would have preferred. But I do want to take a moment to give them full credit because everything on this bike worked perfectly as expected. The brakes were dialed, the shifting was great. Dropper post, this is the best dropper post I've used all year, and it's a RockShox Reverb, which is the hydraulic, which apparently has a terrible reputation on the internet. It was the smoothest, it didn't bind. I actually really liked this dropper post, quite honestly. But back to the bike. So I believe it's a 170-160. This is a 27.5 both front and back configuration. But it is worth noting, for 2023, Santa Cruz has updated this bike to be a 29 front wheel with a 27.5 rear wheel. So the mullet bike. And if I perhaps hadn't just spent 3 days on that specialized status, I may have initially wanted to push back at that. However, I actually think it makes sense for this bike. The reason being is I would expect a shorter travel bike, say in the 140, 150 range, if it had 27.5 wheels, to be designed around being playful and poppy and jumpy and tricky and that sort of thing. When you're talking like a 170, 160, that's a lot of travel, and you're talking about some serious duty here. And that said, that 29 wheel is going to keep you out of those holes. It's going to keep you rolling a little bit better. And that mullet status helps mitigate some of that trade-off that I believe comes with the full 29 package, which is that lack of maneuverability in tight corners. When I had the status, there was a couple of times in really slow, really tight corners that I felt that sort of floppiness of that 29-inch wheel, and that not just a byproduct of the head angle, but I actually do think that it suits this bike, or could suit this bike. Of course, I haven't ridden it yet. What do I think about it overall? Well, the VPP was great. It held up, in braking bumps really, really well. There was like a bone-shattering amount of braking bumps today, to the point where I would stop repeatedly, not because my legs were tired, but because I couldn't feel 3 of the fingers in my hands. So that's obviously worth mentioning. Build kit's going to vary, but the bike itself, I can see why Santa Cruz has more or less morphed its entire lineup to look very similar, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I felt like the center of gravity was nice and low. It tracked really well, it pedaled really well, it just kind of did everything that I wanted it to do really well. In fact, I was sort of surprised that sometimes if there was like a little pedal section out on the hill, how well this pedals actually, like to the point where I was thinking, like, appreciating almost how far cycling technology has come, that I can have a bike that can monster truck through some of the big stuff out there and pop that post up and I'm just cruising. Now, would I want to take this on a cross-country ride? No, absolutely not. I still think that appropriately traveled bike matched to the area is going to be really key. But I think the best compliment I can give this bike is that it just got out of my way today. I didn't notice anything about this Santa Cruz Nomad that I felt was hindering me back, or that I wish that it had to allow me to do certain things. So it kind of disappeared, and that's actually a good thing. And looking around the lift line, there are a lot of Santa Cruz bikes, specifically the V10. I think there were some other Nomads. I don't know their lineup well enough, and especially because they all look very similar now. But I saw a lot of Santa Cruz bikes, and after today's ride, I can appreciate why that is. So this, unfortunately, is going to be a little bit of a different video because I'm not doing multiple consecutive days of riding on this bike. However, I probably logged more miles on this bike here at Whistler today than I have almost, like 2-3 days combined at other places, especially if you're thinking about vertical. So what I'm going to do now is we're actually going to head back to Whistler Village and go check out some of the events. So stick with me because I think you're really going to enjoy it.
I need your body to touch my body right now. I need somebody, I need your body. I need your body to touch my body right now. I need somebody, I need your body right now.
just when competition turns calming and autoimmune disease just comes out 7 in a row, and you know what? Chalk it up. 8 in a row, Whistler. Emil Johansson going for this victory lap. We don't need to call it the tricks.